Hello everybody, how are you doing? It's time for a new tutorial, and today I wanted to show you my little underwater base here, and talk a little bit about how you make underwater buildings in Minecraft. Now I have made a few of these in a few different worlds, because I really enjoy building these, but I noticed a few people don't really know how you begin making these, so I thought, as I'm starting a new world soon, and I won't be able to show off my little base anymore, I'd finally do a tutorial video about how you make buildings underwater. Now I should just say this is not a tutorial for making like pretty buildings or anything like that. I'm taking just very simple blocks here to show you the beginning process. But this is just a bit of an idea so you can start going from building just on the ground to actually building underwater. Now before we get into this, you'll need a few things. I like to use some nice solid blocks that we'll be making the base out of, whatever that is for you, glass, stone, whatever. For this I'm just using cobblestone. And then, to make sure we have access to air, we're going to use a block that we can just dig out with a shovel to kind of fill the base with. And torches for light, because you're going to be making enclosed buildings early on. Later on, you're going to want to put glass and lovely, beautiful constructions in them. But right now, you just want to make sure that they are solid, accessible, and airtight. We're going to build on here just because it's a nice, simple place to start. And it's near the surface, which, when you're learning, something a bit nearer the surface is going to give you quicker to go for breathing. Speaking of breathing, I'm using a respiration helmet here, which means I've got plenty of time before I need to pop back up to the surface. But it's best to have a respiration helmet or some breathing potions. Don't try and do this with no respiration at all or anything like that. Otherwise, that's going to make things really difficult. Now, the way you actually make buildings underwater, this is really, really easy. Once it's done, is really simple. Is you make an enclosed building to start with. This is how I usually begin. And what you're going to try and do is make a little mistake straight away. Make a little enclosed building that you can then completely seal and fill off and make your own little starting point. A place where you can get air in there and go back to breathe, and a place that you can kind of branch off and make other builds from. So you want to make it almost as small as a little place can be. Get a little bit more air here. You know, I always forget that I'm not in the old version of Minecraft where air instantly refilled. And, you know, we'll put a little bit of dirt there. Fill this here, and we'll leave one little block just for re-entering. Now, right now, as you can probably notice, there is no air in there. But how you get your air is pretty simple if you've never done this before. Most of this you guys, I think, will know already, but it's a good way of just thinking about it. I'll close the top off here and blarp. There we go. We're near the surface, so it's not completely pitch black like it will be if you try to do this a little further down. But here we go. So we're in here. As you can see, there's still water in here, but then you fill this with your dirt. You can also use sand if it's a more complicated type of build. Once you've got it sort of mostly full, just switch to your shovel and then dig out all the dirt and try and go from the top. I actually started a block below there. The more you go for the top, the more you'll get blorp, little pockets of air. Then pop yourself a torch in, blorp, and there you go. Now, I'm not using stuff like sponges and things like that here because I want to just do it with the equipment that most people have immediate access to. If you want to use sponges and stuff like that, good for you. I'll have hundreds of comments going, why haven't you used sponges? But that's because, you know, you got to defeat guardians to get sponges, whereas you can actually do this version straight away. So right off the bat, you have, this is an underwater building. If you actually just put a bed in here and a bookcase and a couple of windows, you have an underwater house. But it's not a very impressive one, but this is your starting point. From here, you're okay, because look, if I just blarp, take this block out, some water comes in and I can swim out, but I can keep the air in there now. I now have a source of air. What that means is it's now substantially easier to expand from here because I can just dig down here. I don't have to go back to the surface. Like I say, I've made this fairly high up, but if I'd made this all the way down at the bottom of the ocean, so long as I could swim down and get it built in time, I have this now. This is my starting point. So from here on out, like I say, I'm just using cobblestone and dirt here for demonstration. But from here on out, I can now build the house as I want it. You know, I can build it in little sessions. You know, let's say I want it this kind of size and shape. I can build this outer wall here. I'll just do one little stretch because I'm just showing you the principles. I'm not taking a house from start to finish because that's just building. That's just a building the house tutorial. We all know how to do that. But you know, I want to extend the front out there. You know, give it a bit of a second room. You know. And then you just build your room on the sides here, basically. However you want to expand it, however complicated you want to make it, you then just follow your whims. And you don't have to worry, like, at this point, you don't need to worry too much about respiration and breathing potions, things like that. That's going to make it easier. It's going to be much, much easier if you have that stuff with you. I would not recommend trying to do it without at least a respiration helmet. Just because that's going to increase the amount of time you have to get out here and build. But you just always have that little starting point to get to now. You can always just tuck back here into your home base, get your air going. And it's the same principle for every room, everything you want to build. And then you can just go out and build, add to stuff, make it look however you want it to look. I could have put a wooden roof on here or whatever. And once we get in here, just going to make sure this is sealed. Each individual room has to be sealed, of course. And now I could completely knock this through, or I can just do a little room here. I'm using my my less efficiency pick here, so I keep underestimating how much time I need to trash these blocks. Because I'm using my I think I'm using my silk touch pick. I don't really know why. But now we've got light here, and we can just keep expanding the base out. So again, fill from the top. If you fill from the bottom, what'll happen is you put that there, that blocks it out. Take it away, and it just refills. But if you fill from the top, there's nowhere to replenish that water from. So it essentially produces... Oh, well, you gotta do a bit more than that. There we go. That should... Blarp. There you go. Gives a little bit of that. So, I mean, really, you don't want to go that nitty-gritty. It's best to just... If you take enough blocks down, it's best to just fill as much as you can, essentially. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I can keep going and showing you new and interesting ways of doing it, but honestly, that's really all there is to it. Every time you fill a space out, just every time you fill a space out, just put down a torch, so you're keeping the light going. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing. What I will say is, the one thing I think it's worth remembering is, if you then start demolishing the walls, you will let the water in, so be careful like that. But you can, once you've got this basic setup, you can then change the materials. You can put different types of materials in. You can get as elaborate or as simple as you like. But that's basically just a good start to getting underwater houses. And we've already, just in a couple of minutes, I mean, I've been recording for 8 minutes, less than 10 minutes, and some of this is me taking time to explain. But less than 10 minutes, and we have essentially a livable, if not a very attractive right now, but a livable... Oh, I see some of the water's just coming through here. Let me block that up. Blarp. And then, there we go. There we go. There, beautiful. That should be most of the water. Oh, sometimes you'll leave little water source blocks unblockered. But there you go. That's a mostly livable little underwater house there. Simple, but it is what it is. There's room here to live. You could make this your survival base, and then you just go from there. Like, what I would probably do next is maybe change the walls from cobblestone to, you know, I'd build an outer wall that was a material that was maybe more attractive, and then once you've got outer walls all the way around your inner chambers, you can then swap them for something else. And then I'll just show you a kind of a, here's what I made earlier. I made my own original base here using exactly the same techniques, starting with just one little room in the center, and gradually built it up until it was a more ambitious base. I even have redstone there. There's a blinking redstone tower here, you know, so you can build all kinds of things. I wish I built this all out of iron, but you know me, I'm 100% survival, so it takes a while to get that much iron together. And there you go, that's everything. That's how to make underwater buildings without any sponges, just you and the water and a respiration helmet and your normal tools. So pretty much any beginner can do that, I think. The respiration's the hardest bit. If you've got the enchantments to the point where you can get respiration, it's going to make it a lot easier. If you haven't got respiration yet, you can still do it. And I have like a full little base set here. So there you go. That's my tutorial for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye, guys!